Hi everyone, how are you doing? And thank you for joining me on today's episode with Dapsicord. Good to be in your face again. And on today's episode, I want to discuss something that is quite important. If you've been following me, we started with microphones. We discussed microphones, and from there we discussed live recordings, things you need to know before you do your live recording, whether it's an on-stage project or in the studio. And there was something I was touching a lot in those topics, and I really want to dwell on that in this series, and that is the producer, the music producer. I talked a lot about getting to know your producer in discussing microphones, and that was like the center of my attention when I was discussing the live projects or recording your music project. So who is this person? Who is the music producer? And that's going to be our subject in this series. All right, so who is the music producer? So we're going to discuss who the music producer is, what is the role of the music producer, and what do you get by working with a music producer. So first of all, who is a music producer? A record producer combines the roles of a director and producer in a motion picture field. If you remember, I mentioned that in some of our lectures that we did. And states that he or she is responsible for bringing the creative product into a tangible form. The creative product in this case is the recording, your live project or your studio project, your single or your album. So he or she is responsible for bringing that into a tangible form, which means being responsible for maximizing the creative process, and that is finding and selecting the songs, deciding on the arrangements, getting the right vocal sound, taking care of all the administration such as booking the studio, hiring musicians, staying within budget, and filing union reports, where those are some things that has to do with contract, the mechanical aspects of the administration, and actually calling for musicians, doing the paperwork, and most of these things are often handled by a production coordinator and some other things like that. So as you can see, the work of a music producer is actually an all-encompassing assignment, so to speak. So from the definition that we've had right now, you can notice that there's a creative aspect of the job of the music producer, and there's also the technical aspect of the job of a music producer. Well, I need to let you know, or as you might have known already, technically a lot has evolved in the last 20 years. The music producer of 20 years ago is not exactly the same as the music producer of today, 2021, that this recording is being done. 20 years ago, the music producer had a lot to do than now. But I need to also let you know that if you're on a project and all you have to do on the project is make the beat and send to the artist or send to someone to record, you might not exactly be the producer. Now, let me break it down. So if you're on the project and you are not managing the technical and the creative aspect of that project, you are not the person directing the flow of the project, sorry to burst your bubbles, but you are not exactly the producer. The producer is the person with the vision. The producer is the person with the direction of the project, and the person knows how to sort out the details of the project. Right now, because of how things have evolved, the music producer of today now has some other things to take care of as against the music producer of, say, 20 years ago. So now we have some other things that are evolving, things like having beat makers, having people that will make beat for your projects, or having people that will do one or two other things on the project. But that does not entirely mean those people are the producers on the project. So what are the creative aspects of the job of a music producer? The creative aspect of the job of the music producer involves selecting the team. That might be a little bit technical, but what I mean by selecting the team is selecting the kind of people that can deliver on the project. So let's say right here I'm recording from Nigeria. So let's say you want to do a song, an indigenous song. Let's say you want to do a Fuji song, for example. So the creative aspect of that is looking or searching out people that can deliver on that genre of music. Do you understand? So another creative aspect is selecting the sound. Okay, this is how I want this place to sound, or these are the chord progressions for this. Do you understand? And while some technical aspect will be maybe selecting the mix engineer, selecting the mastering engineer, selecting the studio, directing the project, looking for how, maybe a lawyer, searching out a lawyer, somebody that will handle some of your contract papers and some other things like that. So if you have someone that combines these two roles in a project, then you have your music producer. Do you understand? So that is how the job of a music producer is. That is what the job of a music producer entails. So I'll see you next week on another episode on today's episode with Dapsicod. Thank you. Bye.